What's going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives and another episode of Blossom's Ultimate Upgrade Guide. Now, 2 more episodes, just 2 more episodes, RQ63 and RQ64. I don't know if I'm going to make a series for this for epics because they are a lot more obvious as long as it's performance tires. You basically want to go 233 unless it's a drag. If you really want to see epics, let me know down in the comments below. But honestly, for this series, the perfect rarity to do was ultra rare. And we are almost done with that because ultra rare is kind of like the boiling point of the stability from upgrading in super rares to the stability in upgrading in epics and legendaries and beyond. Well, there's nothing beyond legendary. But anyway, RQ63 and RQ64. Now, the last episode was RQ62, and I think it was a very, very small RQ. If I remember correctly, there was like, what, 21 cars, something like that. It was very, very small. Then we moved to RQ63. It's a big family here, 35 cars, and my god, is RQ63 a banger of an RQ. There are so many fantastic cars in here, over average cars in here, and I can't wait to share this insight with all of y'all. As per usual, this series is going to be in my personal opinion, but I have played this game for 4.5 years now. I have over 500 ultra rares with 437 of them max. I've played a lot of clubs. I've got a lot of time in this, so please take my advice if you are definitely on the fence on any of these cars. But anyway, let's get into it. 969, as we always say as we start off this series, very pedestrian stuff, nothing controversial. We got the Infinity standard tires, we got the Tote Saison Prenus, which is all surface tires in, I believe, French. So we got the all surface tire cars in here. We have some off-road, actually no, there are no off-road tires at all, but yes, we do have an off-road tire. I was like, wait a minute. I know the 924 Carrera is in this RQ. Where is it? Then I realized I made a continue page because there's so many cars in RQ63. That was a funny little brain blip there. But yeah, all surface tire cars, standard tire cars, off-road tire cars. You know it. They're gonna be 969. The only 2 cars I feel like some people might question why would you 969 would be the Audi S4 and the BMW 640 iX Drive. Now the Audi S4. When I was, doing my research on RQ63s, one interesting thing showed up. Now, the RQ63 Audi S4, used to be 64 as well, is one of the worst RQ63s in the collection. If not, it is. But it does have one little thing up its sleeve. For a 90s four-wheel drive medium ground clearance car, it has traction control and ABS. Not a lot of four-wheel drive medium ground clearance cars from the 90s have both traction control and ABS. So the fact that the Audi S4 has that, that's one little niche. But the 0 to 60 is still very weak. It has 56 MRA, and 80 handling is just meh. Especially for a performance tire car. But anyway, I would 323 both of them because they're good for the rain, because they have traction and ABS. And for off-road, or I guess for the continued, we have the off-road in the Porsche 924 Carrera GTS, the Porsche 911 Carrera 4, and the Volvo XC90. Now, when it comes to four-wheel drive, I always like to talk about wet spec and dry spec. Now, the Porsche that you see over here, I think is a horrendous car, by the way. 65 MRI on this. It has no traction control, but it does have ABS. It's from the 80s, so you might be thinking, Blossom, why would you not say this to be 233 like all the other four-wheel drive Subarus that doesn't have traction control that you've told us to 233? Here's the difference. Subarus are a dime a dozen. There are 100 million of them in ultra rare, and they're all the same. So you kind of experiment, like, oh, I can make, since they're all the same, I can make some of them 233, I can make some of them 323. It really depends on, if you play clubs a lot or not. If you play clubs a lot, then you want to prioritize dry spec. If you don't play clubs a lot, then maybe you want to go wet spec because it's the safer option to go. But the Porsche 911 Carrera 4 is a bit different because it doesn't come from a family where everyone is the same. This one is actually different. Most of the Porsches that are, they have rear-wheel drive. There are not a lot of rear-wheel drive Subarus that are ultra rare. In fact, I think they're pretty much none. But for the Porsche, there are a lot of rear-wheel drive cars in its family, right? Those are the cars that you want a 233. This Porsche stands out because of its drivetrain, and because of that, I would go 323, because none of those rear-wheel drive Porsches from its family, even from its time zone, is going to be better than this in the rain. So that's the one niche the Carrera 4 has, and when we get to the tier maker, you will see why. Well, that is the reason why the Carrera 4 isn't in hot garbage, because it has these special niches which don't come up too often outside of the fact that it has very, very weak stats. 65 MRA, let me reiterate that on a Porsche. That's just, there's Subarus with better MRA than that. But anyway, getting to 699 now, very pedestrian once again. I don't think there are any surprises over here. We have your low ground clearance and medium ground clearance performance tire cars that are rear wheel drive. We talked about the Subarus earlier and why I want to dry spec some of them. Once again, if you play a lot of clubs, dry specking Subarus is the way to go because Japanese events and clubs are a dime a dozen, and the majority amount of track sets are going to be either dry or off-road. And well, off-road you don't want to use a performance tire car anyway. Super Impreza WRX, I would put this in the 699 category, and I wouldn't really fuss about having it 969 and 699 because there's another RQ63 four-wheel drive medium ground clearance Japanese car that you want to really get in duplicate, and that Subaru isn't one of them. Still a decent car though, okay handling, relatively low 0 to 60, but really bad MRA, 58. But it's a Subaru, so no surprises. Acura NSX, the Camaro, Mazda BBR, the Porsche Boxster, all these cars are just rear-wheel drive, you know, performance tire cars that handle well with low 0 to 60s. The Mazda has a high 0 to 60 to be fair, but I think the Mazda has okay MRA for Mazda. Yeah, actually very good MRA, 87.23 on the Mazda BBR. Now, I still get this question a lot, so I'm going to answer it once. And if you still ask this question down in the comments below, it means that you didn't watch the video in full, which is a bit of an insult because I spent a lot of time making this video. So if you don't watch it, you're just telling me, you know, go F yourself. But MRA means mid-range acceleration. It's basically how fast your car accelerates from 60 to 100. Okay? Okay. So let's move on. We have 969 continued again. Oh no, I just pressed back. Now we move to 996. Those are all the 699 cars. I was so happy that they managed to fit in one beautiful page. I don't need to make a continued page. 996. I would say Tamora, AMG S55, and the Aston Martin V12. No controversy over there. These are drag cars that you want to drag. Okay, so 996 on the Tamora. The Tamora has an MRA of 85.36, also a very low 0 to 60 and very lightweight, coming in at 1,060 kgs. Moving on, we have the Mercedes. Now, without Top Drives Club, I know that this has 89 MRA, 89.22. In fact, it also has medium ground clearance. The only thing weighing it down, I would say, is the low top speed, but it's kind of in that niche with like the Charger Daytona and the Bentley Brooklyns. And then we have the Aston Martin V12 Vanquish. Now, the Aston Martin V12 Vanquish doesn't really have good MRA. The main reason why you want to drag spec it is because it has a low 0 to 60 and a very high top speed. 75 MRA on the V12 Vanquish is very mediocre. And then last but not least, you have what I like to call the Hell Sushi, okay? This is the drag spec Subaru of my choice. It's either this or the Blitzen. Why? Is because it has 76 MRA. I know it's not saying much, but most of the Subarus have like 55 MRA to like 65 MRA. So having 76 MRA is a bit of an achievement. I would drag spec my Legacy. It actually beats maxed epics. I've shown it on my Instagram before. But yeah, really, it's not a good car at the end of the day because although it has good MRA for its family, for, you know, Subaru, for its niche, the 0 to 60 is trash. I mean, 6 seconds is just abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. If you 996 that, it gets 4.90 to 60. I already know that because mine is also drag spec'd. It handles pretty well for a Subaru, 83. A lot of Subarus kind of go around that 82, 81 to 83 area. But when you move to RQ64s, when we'll see in the final episode, there are Subarus that handle a little better with 84 stock. So, moving on now to either or. These are the you know, the cars where you go either way. You know, with one tune or another. So the first one, Dodge Charger SRT8. Now the Dodge Charger SRT8 in general is not a very good ultra rare, but it does hold one very powerful trump card. It is the best American saloon ultra rare. Done. So because of that, you really want to decide, do you want to go 699 or 996? Because it has a high top speed. The MRA is decent. If anything, it's actually bad for a Dodge, but it's still not too bad. It's 73.34. It's funny, right? Bad MRA for a Dodge, 73. Great MRA for a Subaru, 76. You know, it just shows you the gap, you know? But anyway, 699, I mean, it wouldn't be too bad of an option as well because 81 handling is no slouch. You can get 90 handling out of that. This car isn't really a 100% dragster. That's what I'm trying to say. Because if it was a 100% dragster, it would be like maybe 4.3. The 4.3 0 to 60 can stay, but a lot better MRA. So instead of 73, it could be like 85 or 87, and the handling could be like 76. But it isn't. It has a low 0 to 60, a high top speed, okay MRA, and it has okay handling. It's a bit of a hybrid. So because of that, it kind of is a jack of all trades. So 699 and 996 are both valid for a car that you're not going to get a lot of use of, but if there ever is an ultra rare Saloon American event, that is the best car for you to have, especially the best car you can unpack, because the Pontiac is a prize car. Moving on is the Porsche 911 RS. Once again, not a very good car, but you can go either way with it, either 699 or 996, just like the Charger, because it handles pretty well. 84 handling stock, ain't no slouch. The 0 to 60 though is so incredibly weak. 5.1 for a low ground clearance performance tire car is really sad, but it has 90 MRA. 90 MRA is very high, but it has a very low top speed of 161. So where do you want to put it? It's a half-mile car, maybe? I don't sure. But you can 996 it to be a half-mile car, or you can make use of that decent handling, and 699 it, you'll get 93 handling. It's also very lightweight, coming in at 1,220 kgs. So really, it depends where you want to put the 911 RS. Well, once again, a bit of a jack of all traits, but it's not going to win you much. Probably going to lose by 50 on almost everything. Next up, we have the Ford Focus RS500. I love this car, really. High top speed for a front-wheel drive car. It is a is the best all-rounder, in my opinion, for a front-wheel drive car. I mean, the TCR is also, you know, a fantastic all-rounder, but this one you can use in the dry and the wet. You can use it in the low and the medium, because the TCR is slick tires and low ground clearance. High top speed, great handling, and decent MRA as well for a front-wheel drive car. It has 77.19 MRA, so it ain't no slouch. Once again, I think that's the quote for today's episode, ain't no slouch. You can 996 it because it has a high top speed and good MRA for a front-wheel drive car. Not all adults are good, but it's still good. But you can also 699 it because it has really good handling. So it's a car that you kind of want duplicates of. And last but not least, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 4 needs no bloody introduction. This thing is absolutely fantastic. One of the best ultra rares in the game. Definitely want to get duplicates, quadruplets, quintuplets, sextuplets of said car. And once again, let's talk about duplicates. I mean, there is no surprise here. Every car that you see here is either currently a Blossom choice or was a Blossom choice. 924 used to be Blossom choice, and the 037 got a buff. Cadillac CTS used to be Blossom choice, and then they added the Legacy BW and JPT, but they're still very good cars, even though they're not Blossom choice anymore. Then you have the TCR, the Timor, the Lancer. They're all really fantastic cars, and they're still on the list. But anyway, let's move on to the tier maker. Alright, buddies, you know how it works by now. I mean, I've made like 14 episodes in this series. Priority 1, best of the best for all players to collect. Priority 2, very good cars. Most players can get those. Priority 3, intermediate. Okay, so this is where if you are a beginner and you get these cars, you can probably fuse them away, especially if you have one of these. Priority 4, advanced players, and then priority 5, hot garbage for the collector. Alright, so let's talk about priority 1. Ain't no surprise. Okay, all the cars that I basically put in the duplicates showed up here once again. The only difference would be the Subaru Outback. I think that I put the Subaru Outback in there, and I put the Porsche 924 Carrera in priority 2. We'll get to that in a bit. So why the Outback? It's a very good car, but you don't need duplicates of said Outback. Now let me tell you, I feel like some people sleep on how useful the Outback actually is. First of all, it's niche. It is the absolute best. You know, sometimes when I talk about niche like the Charger, I would say it's the best when it comes to ultra rares. The Subaru Outback XT is the best all-surface tire estate in the game. Full stop. No, not best ultra. It's the best. There's no epic. There's no. It's the best. It's the best estate all-surface tire four-wheel drive estate. And I was going to say SUV, but it is an SUV. It also is a very light SUV estate. God damn it! It is an estate. Trust me, it's an estate. I'm just jumbling on my words. It's a very light estate. It comes in at 1,764 kgs, which is light for an estate because most of the cars in the all-surface tire niche, you know, is like 2,000 kgs, 1,900, around that range. So it's light, has a very low 0 to 60, 6.1 seconds when you compare it to cars, other all-surface tire cars. In this RQ, we have 7.0 in the XC90, 6.8 in the X-Trail, and 6.7 in the RDX. So there you go. Also, it's lighter than all the cars I mentioned, and it handles pretty well at 74 handling. Not the best, but it's okay. All right, I would take a little bit of a handling deduction for the fact that it is the best estate all-surface tire car. It is lightweight and has a low 0 to 60. Now everything else I talked about earlier: CTS, Focus, TCR, Timora, Lancer. They're all Blossom choice. If you want to know why, go check out the Blossom choice video. It is literally the #1 video you see when you click on my channel. Now one thing I want to address is the gap between the Cadillac CTS and the Chrysler Citadel. Both of them are very strong four-wheel drive standard tire cars with medium ground clearance. They both both have, you know, decent handling. One has very good handling, one only has decent. But the Citadel has a very low 0 to 60. Why is the CTS above the Citadel in my opinion? Well, I'm going to show you a picture right here. Shout out to Top Drives World. I don't think he posts anymore. But here's a comparison that he did. And as you can see, the CTS trumps the Citadel in anything that is twisty. Yes, the Citadel beats the CTS in anything that is fast, but if there is a rain fast track set, let's be honest, the Citadel is never the first car that comes to your mind. When I think of CTS and I think of Chrysler Citadel, I'm thinking of, you know, medium ground clearance or twisty. Now, one thing to take note is that the Citadel actually beats the Cadillac CTS Coupe on the city streets small, but then, you know, the outcome is switched on the city streets medium. So there is one good thing about the Citadel. It's a city streets small wet car. But that one track wonder isn't enough to justify the fact that it should be priority 1. The Cadillac CTS Coupe is just a better car. I would choose it in a twisty circumstance. At the end of the day, they're both slapped around by the legacy BW nowadays, but we'll get to that in the next episode. Moving on to priority 2. Now, these are still very good cars, even though I just kind of diminished the Citadel a bit. Still very good car. We have the BMW 640i. We have 2 Bentleys. These are the best ultra Bentleys, and you can actually get value out of them because they handle well, and they are both medium, and their 0 to 60s are not incompetent. Their MRAs are actually, well, it's very Bentley-like. 77 is not wow high top speed, but you can get value out of them because the main thing about these Bentleys is that they are medium and they handle, and most Bentleys don't handle, but these ones do, so they are high up the list. We also have the Acura NSX, the Camaro, the Boxster, the BBX. All of these cars are kind of in the same niche. They're all low ground clearance performance tire cars that handle well. They have decent MRAs and they have low 0 to 60s. They are just great hybrid cars that are not specialists, but you can still get value out of them. They're all very good cars. We have the Volvo XC90, very, very good handling. The only thing weighing it down is literally its weight. And then with the Ford Edge Sport, which used to be 64. It's funny because when this car, the Ford Edge Sport, when it first came out, everyone was saying this thing is going to be overpowered. You know, it should be an epic because it has a very low 0 to 60 for an all-surface tire SUV. The handling is decent, but it just didn't turn out to be that case, huh? You know, it's actually a pretty underwhelming car if you compare it to what it used to be as an RQ64, especially when people used to say it should be epic or whatever. The MRA isn't very good, 61 MRA, and it's very heavy. You know, it weighs over 2,000 kgs stock. So those are the things that really weigh it down. And once again, it handles, but not as well as the XC90. So if you're getting really heavy SUVs, you might as well just go for the XC90 because it handles better. And then you have the Jaguar XFRS. You have great MRA for a Jag, 80 MRA, medium ground clearance, estate at a low 0 to 60, great Ocean City Streets car. Then you have the Maserati Quattroporte. It is a fantastic Italian saloon that is medium and handles well. Mazda Cosmo handles well, standard tires. Just, you know, I think a slightly worse version of the Infiniti G37. I would still favor that. Pontiac G8 GXP. This is the other American saloon I was talking about, but it's a price car, so it's not accessible to most of you guys. And then the Porsche 924 Carrera GTS. Now, I genuinely mean it. I think you should get duplicates of the Porsche, but it isn't priority 1 because it's only 1 RQ off from the Lancia 037. I know you can argue, Blossom, the Cadillac is 1 RQ off the Legacy, so why is that in priority 1 but the 924 isn't? Maybe I'm a little harsh on the 924. The Cadillac, at least I can still say it's the best when it comes to like American off-road. 924, I guess you can say it's the best when it comes to German off-road, but it just doesn't really happen that much. And when German off-roads happen, you know, then we talk about epics and legendaries. This is a hard one to explain. It's just that when you've been playing this game for 4 years, you just know what car you tend to use more. And I tend to use the Cadillac CTS more than, you know, the 924. It just is that way. Maybe it's a bit too harsh. Maybe you would put it up here, but I'm predominantly putting 924 down just because the 037 is 64. But once again, you can argue away Blossom, but, you know, the Legacy 64, the CTS, I get it. Once again, that's my personal opinion. Might be too harsh on the 924. Let me know if you disagree or agree. Priority 3, I'm going to give it to the Mercedes-AMG S55. It is a very niche car, but if it's useful, it is very useful. And it's the same thing for the Dodge Charger SRT8, you know? There was one event, I remember there was one German event, which, you know, you needed this drag spec. But after that, you never needed it ever again. But it was so useful for that one event. And it won me a ceramic pack, won me tier 1. And then you have the Charger SRT8. Once again, you know, you're not going to use it very much in the open game, but when it comes to American saloons and it's ultra rare, that's the best one to use. And that's kind of the trend with a lot of the priority 3 cars over here. They can turn up when you need them to, but they don't turn up often. The Vanquish, once again, very high top speed, low 0 to 60, but no MRA. The Impreza, it's just a worse Evo 4, but it isn't a bad car. And then we move on to Priority 4 for the advanced player. Now, these are the very weak cars, in my opinion. 911 RS, just once again, it has many buts, right? Handles well, but not as well as the 340i. Great MRA, but it doesn't have a top speed. Great MRA again, but it doesn't have a low 0 to 60. You see what I mean? It's just like whenever it has a positive, there's a negative pulling it down. So unfortunately, the 911 RS, not a very good car. 911 Carrera 4, once again, it's slow, and it has no traction, and honestly, there are never any wet Porsche events anyway, and if there are, people would always try and make an effort to use like a legendary, like one of those newer 911s, and they come with traction and ABS. There just has been no event where the Porsche Carrera 4 has been super useful, because even then you can use the super rare Porsches that have standard tires. You see what I mean? And then you have the Legacy, all right? The Legacy, my hell sushi, as I like to call it. Good MRA for a Subaru, but that's the only trump card it has. And then the RDX and the X-Trail, both of them are just very heavy. They don't handle very well. So, not very high regards. If anything, you want an RQ63 SUV, go for the XC90, go for the Edge Sport, go for the Subaru Outback. These two are kind of irrelevant. And last but not least, hot garbage. It is the Audi S4. I'm sorry, Enqui, it's just useless. Like I said, the only thing it has going for it is that it's a 90s car with 4-wheel drive medium that has traction control and ABS. But the 0 to 60 is abysmal. The handling isn't great. Unfortunately, it's just not a good car. It's also very heavy, I do believe. Where is the Audi? Yeah, it's not that heavy, 1,510, but it is definitely heavier than the Subaru Impreza WRX, which, just handles a little better. So, if anything, this is going to be my list on RQ63. Let me know if you agree or disagree down in the comments below. But we have one more episode after. Okay, you know what? I feel the people hating. I feel the people. I'm just gonna put it up there. I'm just gonna put it up there. Okay, I'm just gonna put it up there. But anyway, hope you guys have a great day. We're gonna stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't care, look like Leslie Brooks. Pin up girls everywhere with the drop dead look. Swing it side to side as we slow dance to the night. When I'll hold your perfect hand and take you out just for a ride. We'll share milkshakes at the diner and rebel.